pajamas and swim. Everything is going to change. And there will be a day that that is going to occur. The only thing that we're going to do is, how do we do this? By succession, we're going to put somebody in my place that's going to have the same goals. So the idea in chapter 2, and these are number 12 and 11, so these are the last things. But for me, that paradigm is my leverage point. It's not physical, it is not informational, it is not this. My leverage is on my paradigm. What happened 20 or 30 years ago in this country? What are the largest companies that have been developed over the last couple of decades? More specifically, it started out with who? Apple and Microsoft, didn't it? And then we have what? All of these other companies that have been formed. And today their value is what? More than many of their industrial counterparts. For example, Microsoft, if I'm still correct, somebody should look this up. But last time I was there, I was told that Microsoft, in a short period of time, has more wealthy people and has more assets than Boeing, and they're about the headquarters for Boeing has now moved to Chicago, but in essence, majority of it is still up there, that they're within, what, 30, 40 miles of each other.
Amazon's the new king in town for Seattle.
Amazon? For those that live in Blount County. What was one of the cities in Blount County called?
Colorado.
Who is the largest employer in Blount County?
Probably.
You should know.
I think it's Denzel.
Denzel. Denzel. What happened? These are important. What came to me that I want to stress to you, your leverage points cannot be or should not be at the bottom level where I showed you the emergency room case study. Was not the leverage point, was not what? At the paradigm level. Where was it? I believe somewhere in the physical level. And if I want to make a big splash and a big change, you can choose your leverage points at the paradigm level. And here's what I would think. How do you think right now at home? It's not whether you mow your lawn or not. It is how you think your family should be run. What are your goals? What is it that drives you? Am I getting across? Because I am very disappointed in myself that I did that emergency room project and I focused what? Where? My leverage point. What did I say? My leverage point is path 4. Area 4, area 5, whatever that was. What? And I don't know, I'm not smart enough to understand that. What if I had changed the whole paradigm of how emergency rooms work? For example, how do current emergency rooms work? You go as a patient, and I'm moved. I am moved. Watch this. I am moved through the system, isn't it? What if you were the patients, and I had a nurse, and a person with registration, and a physician that all came to you at one time? Huh? But they said, hey, are you feeling bad? Yes, it is. Hey, let's take his blood pressure. Okay, doctor, his blood pressure is this, and okay, here's your medication. In 5 minutes, we're done.
Because every time I go in, I end up answering the same questions 10 times.
Yeah.
Oh, they changed that.
Yeah.
Children's Hospital, East Tennessee Children's Hospital went through their form and they said, they asked, what is, I can't remember what Isaac told us, 200 questions that were asked the same. There were 200 type questions that were asked the same. So now what they've done is reduce the forms down to a very minimal and they share their information. Would that be a paradigm shift? That instead of you going to them, they as a team come to each patient.
That would be drastically different.
Okay. Now, I want to kind of push you. Give me a paradigm shift at work.
Sure, I'll go. One of our paradigm shifts that we're dealing with is the idea of, I don't know how to really say this, but, so, our machine, I collect data right now to analyze our machines, and our machines stop, and I'm giving them averages of how far in between one is. But there's this idea and concept in everybody's head that the faster we can possibly run these machines, the better off that we are, and we run them at this rate because that's what they say, and they're stopping every like 20 seconds. But understanding how to say, well, if I slow the machine down and I run it closer to what the manufacturer recommendation is, and I lengthen the time in between the stops, I make more product out the door. Getting that across and under the paradigm of like faster we could possibly run them, the better off that we possibly are.
Let me kind of give you a little bit more. When you're bored at home and you flip through channels, I've come across this show that I think amazes me because people are moving into houses that are 200 square feet and 300 square feet. It's called Tiny Home Nation or something like that. That's a paradigm shift. Huh?
So, facility we run is a user facility. It's meant more for R&D and sort of educational type research, and it's free. And so the measures of success are number of users, number of publications, as a byproduct.
Yeah.
But now they're talking about engaging industry. Industry does proprietary work. They don't want to publish. They want to pay, but we don't have mechanisms to take payment for industrial research. So we're struggling as an organization to understand how to change the metrics for success.
Very good. I mean, the paradigm shift is, watch this, I go to industry. I work with a different kind of clientele. Let me go through this. I want to make sure that I get this across to you. The next, you notice that I failed in my emergency room. I failed. I did not like the project after I read this chapter because I never thought about the paradigm. Okay. The next one is, so when you think, do you think at the paradigm level? Or do you think about the goals of that system? For example, are the goals of ORNL, you just mentioned that, goals, okay? Are ORNL's goals or whoever makes goals valid goals? Is White Cloud's goals valid goals? Okay. So, what should the goals be? What should the rules be? And how should we self-organize? But that comes from what? Where is it that they don't even have offices or times or which is that on? Google. Would you rather work for Google? You could bring your dog.
We've had a lot of people leave for Google, so it's attracting quite a few of our people.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on the kind of person you are too.
Said,
It depends on the kind of person you are too. If you like that kind of structure, being that way.
Yeah, if that aligns with your values, that's probably great, but if you're like an IT security guy, you may not like that environment.
do you challenge the goals, the rules, and how things are governed when you design your processes and your systems. To some extent, we did this, but I can only superficially cover it because it was not my idea of what should be changed. They simply said, hey, we can make more money if we go down to 140 minutes. Nothing was changed. So I not only did not look at the paradigm, I did not even look at what? The goals and the rules and all that stuff. Where do you think I focused the emergency room attention?
The lowest rate.
Where has been a majority of your education in this program? There you go. You see, that's when I was reading this and it eventually hit me. I said, my God, we're doing them a really a disservice unless we tell them that. Is how, where you can create a greater impact by looking at paradigm shifts and changing goals and changing rules and all that stuff. Where we are concentrating, and it's not bad, that we're going to design systems not around questioning goals or paradigms, but accepting them and within those constraints. And sometimes it's fine. The goals and the paradigms are fine. Okay. So, and the part that we sometimes do, and I think we do, but not in this particular case, was information systems. We were at Denso yesterday. And Mark, it's amazing, like we were talking about developing short courses and systems. And you know what Denso is? Denso is very proud of the fact that they're really good at operational excellence. You know what they're talking about? And this is validated what I was thinking after I was reading this. He said, we are so good at doing this that we are world renowned for how well we run our operations. But we have no clue on the paradigm, on the systems, on the goals, on all this. They give us a goal and we're like robots. Ah! So we are now also talking to them about how do we create a new way of thinking for all their managers and all the people, I think 3 levels, isn't it?
It's C-suite, it's mid-management,
Who?
and then it's their upper leaders, it's their mid-management, and then it's their.
And you see, again, this is what I think. Now you tell me and correct me. We have this education not for the purpose of just getting a degree, but to change thoughts, to change Rubbermaid, to change ORNL, to change Y12. But that's not limited to that. You are more than just ORNL and Rubbermaid and Y12. You still have an existence, but if we could change your thoughts, can we change society to some degree? And so I'm a little discouraged with myself that I did not catch this earlier. I mean, I always think myself, I think strategically, but I could not ever communicate that with the class because I was following this rigid thing of a class, never setting the stage for you guys and saying, my God, your biggest impact is how the kind of paradigm you set in your house, not whether you sit next to the door and say, hey, you're late. And then, so the final thing was information systems. So now, I want you to disagree with this because they have put all of these together in 12 different things. I do not believe they're 12 different things, they're categories. And the categories that I put for you are, what is it? Paradigms of a system, definition of a system, physical flow of it within a system, and the information flow within a system. And I want you to kind of, if you agree with me, to think along those lines before you start a project. You go through that checklist. Do I agree with the paradigm? Do I agree with the goals and the rules? Only if you do that, go to the next step and fix the physical where we are creating that expertise. Are we okay with that?
What if you look at that and you say that you don't agree with the rules and don't agree with the goals, but don't feel
Then
like,
let me kind of
you have
advise you.
okay,
Sometimes, depending on what rule and what paradigm it is that you're disagreeing with, who is it that you're disagreeing with, must be considered for your safety. Okay? You can always present ideas. Some people would be very receptive to it. Some people may not be receptive to it. But you can always, in a nice way, when I want to do something, I would say, you know, what do you think? I mean, I was thinking this way, what do you think? And it is non-threatening, because then you can, somebody says, well, that was the dumbest thing that you ever said. Okay, thank you, you know? And then you choose your thing. You are an advocate for the thought process. If you ask those questions on a regular basis, without getting yourself into trouble, you're going to be fine, but because eventually somebody in one of those meetings is going to say, what exactly were you talking about? But I don't want you to say, I read something on a chapter and went to class, and therefore all of you are stupid, you know? And I do not want you to do that. Yes.
I appreciate that advice, but I do want to say that I don't think that we can really change, even if we recognize that there's something that needs to be fixed in the paradigm of the goals, the definition. I don't know that we can really change that until we understand the physical systems and the information system and how that feeds back.
I would say to some extent you're absolutely correct.
It's good to know the basics of how that physical system
Right.
works.
I would say, because what you're saying is, let me get a lot more information, let me see where the problems are, and then I can come back and tell you, hey, we need to think differently about it and set different goals. I would agree with that. But
think
I
another
want,
thing that we struggle with is
go ahead.
people in positions to make decisions on paradigm shifts don't understand.
The
Well,
information system.
and I think, you know, I don't know a lot of stuff, and I'm learning a lot of stuff. So to be able to say that people don't know in management, or different people that don't know, it's so big deal. I mean, but we are trying. I mean, I can tell you, and Mark can validate this or not. Yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago, I think, that he and I, after I finished the class, we talked about creating modules of short courses, so that not only can we make you aware of it, possibly, I'm not sure who Mark had in mind, but the idea is, I mean, it didn't go much far from that, but the idea is that we're going to sit together and create these modules, and then hopefully we'll have these for where people become more aware of the kind of things that we're discussing. Mark, is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. You know, it starts at the engineer level. When I'm get up, I'm going to talk about how systems we have need this kind of approach in everything we do. So we have to teach the other engineers about what we're talking about. We have to teach their managers what we're talking about. And we have to teach those outside of engineering what we're talking about. So we need an ability to communicate these concepts.
So I just want to make sure that you understand that people are aware of that need. And I mean, with Y12, we're aware of that need. With Denso, we're aware of that need. And these are not things that 2 or 3 or 4 years ago I would hear. But this has become a bigger issue now. The part that I didn't do a very good job, but I would like you to understand, is this chapter is a very important chapter because I categorize them for you. But if you look at balancing feedback loops, strength of the feedback loop relative to impacts. For example, what are we talking about? See these feedback loops? What impact do I want to make to this system, whether it be my sons or my wife or myself, okay? And the strength of that. For example, with my younger son, I have no strength. Because as soon as I tell him something, he goes to his mama. So there's no strength in that feedback loop. So there is a tremendous amount of things that they're talking about. Structure of information access. Who do you want to give access to of information to? Strength of gain of driving loops. And if I can quickly Mark, just one more minute. I want you to look, this is really important. Look at this. They're talking about delays. They're talking about stocks. They're talking about buffers. They're talking about the size of the flows. How much savings there are going to be is depending on what you want, how much flow is coming in, how much flow is going out. These kind of things, these are really, really interesting ideas that is really going to help you with your thought process. And I'll do a better job. I'll take another 10, 15 minutes next time and cover this a little bit more and give you examples of some of these things. Are we okay? Excellent.
You take a break?
So take a break.